talk about the tooling, Hugo, I wanted to kick off with you in terms of tooling. What are you seeing in the evolution of tooling? And then Nick, if you can maybe jump in with a little bit of on hats, what you're seeing there with, off-chain integrations and everything else around DAO tooling.
I think one of the over last year, some of the less spoken about innovations in tooling has comes down to into user experience. It's less feature rich, it's less exciting to talk about. But I think if you talk to the guys at Tally and Snapshot and Agora, it is quite interesting to see how their journeys have evolved in terms of like doing the same thing but doing it better. We'll probably get into it at a later stage, but like AI is the same story in terms of like governance is expensive in time, and we've made that point a couple of times now. So making a participation easy is reducing the costs. So from a tooling perspective, I see a lot of interesting things, but a lot of them are mostly useful for projects that are starting off right now, which still like the design phase is very fun right now in terms of what you have on the table. But in terms of tooling for existing DAOs that are trying to change the ship's direction slightly, make it a bit faster, make it a bit better, the user experience is quite intense. Whether that's voting, whether that is karma-based profiles, which kind of like makes you understand what your community looks like a lot easier. It gives you a 10,000-foot view of what is happening in the DAO, and that actually is enough right now for me to actually say that I do think DAOs have an opportunity to be better in 2024, just based on like how some of the tooling that already they've used or has been available to them for a long time have improved. We're seeing a lot of features that are small and adjacent to the core product, but that user experience just adapts so much with those. But I'll let Nick speak to the more exciting, newer, cutting edge tools out there.
You bring up a great point, because there was an era of almost no governance votes happening because the gas fees were so high. So I think the macro environment here is actually that cheap and abundant block space via Ethereum L2s is a revolutionary step forward in DAO governance. So that's an amazing baseline. And then of course we can start to do things that are a bit more complex and involved on chain, like token gated access control for various platforms, and complicated role structures, right? So when we started with hats, if you wanted to create a tree of 10 roles or 15 roles, you might be paying quarter ETH on mainnet to make it happen. And now you can pay 10 cents on Optimism and get to the point where you have all the structure on chain, and it's very interoperable and usable across the board. I think one thing that's really interesting to me right now, we always had this problem of how do we gate the various tools that we use that are not on chain, right? So if we want to gate Telegram, if we want to gate Google Docs, GitHub, like we're already working there. I think in 2021, we saw a lot of people try to create Web3 versions of those tools, and a lot of those have since shut down. And now kind of Enclave and Lit Protocol and other like TEE platforms are helping to create more interoperability, especially looking at AI agents that are controlled by the DAO but live in that sort of structure. You can do the same thing for DAO delegation, and I think that also combined with the zk-TLS tooling that's coming out, that's going to allow for the input of that data into on-chain systems. We're just getting a lot more high fidelity connections between blockchain based tooling and traditional database based tooling.